In this episode of Open Tab, we're at one of the premier beer festivals of the Southeast.
Hey, I'm Sam with Beer Loves Athens, and we're here at the 18th annual Classic City Brewfest. We're going to sample some beer and meet some brewers. Come on, let's open a tab. You guys having a good time?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's dangerous. You got to be careful.
You guys excited to try anything in particular?
Yeah, I'm just trying not to drink the same beer twice, and that's not too tough today.
Agreed, agreed.
Decided to take the day off tomorrow, and please don't show that.
Okay, you guys gonna stay the whole time?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna get our money's worth. Yeah, and then we're gonna walk home. Be responsible.
Yeah. Nice. So what kind of beers do you guys have on tap?
Well, going down the row, we've got Matilda, Belgian Style Pale Ale, GABF Gold Medal winning IPA, Summertime, Kolsch, 3 and 2 Urban Wheat Beer, Honkers, which is like an English style bitter, Père Jacques, Belgian Style Abbey Ale, and then, which one's this? Sophie, Saison.
Nice.
Nice.
Which one's your favorite?
Kind of depends, but I always come back to Matilda. I love Matilda, yeah.
How would you describe it?
Kind of a baked spice or baked apple flavor and aroma. You know, as opposed to American style pale ales, it's a Belgian style pale ale, so it's not really hop focused, it's more yeast driven. Oh, okay. So a lot of the flavors we're getting out of it are more yeast derivative. And we put a dose of Brettanomyces in it, a wild yeast, to give it a little bit of extra earthiness, a little character.
Food pairings is a big part of what we do with the Belgian style skill. And then the most versatile to me is going to be the Matilda. Like he was saying, for these strains, you get a little bit of spice and a lot of fruitiness. It's not super hop forward, so the spice will go real with some Asian dishes, and the fruitiness goes like a salad, like a citrus vinaigrette or something. It just lends itself to all kinds of different dishes.
While you may be familiar with many of the brews at Classic City, there's plenty of up-and-comers to try as well.
Athens is a really emerging beer community, and there's so many good beers here and good people.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how many Georgia breweries have come out.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
From Atlanta's Monday Night Brewing,
I think there's a lot more options in Georgia, which is exciting for the consumer, and bringing awareness to having, you know, more options for local beer.
To Hampton's Jailhouse Brewery.
With all the breweries that are opening up in Georgia, it's going to only expand. I mean, you see the expansion of growler stores, things like that are very popular. Even down where we are, where craft beer is not exactly the mainstream, it's picking up heavily down there. And even people that have only drank domestic beer are now starting to be like, oh, well.
I want to try the craft beer. I like that. It's totally
good. So what kind of beer are you guys serving today?
Slammer Wheat, Misdemeanor Ale, our Breakout Stout, and our IPA.
You guys have any new brews in the pipeline that you're excited about?
We actually have a beer that we produce that's only in keg. It's called the 4D, Deep, Deep, Deep Undercover. It's an ever-changing IPA. Every time we brew it, it's a different batch completely. And that's always fun because it kind of gives us a chance to experiment with new ideas and stuff like that.
Always innovating, huh?
Yes, always. Keeps it fun for us, so it's not always the same thing.
Yeah.
And our Saison will be out the next week, 2 weeks.
Wow.
We're seasonal, so.
So do you guys have any brews in the pipeline that you guys are ready to talk about or excited?
Yes, so there's the Blind Pirate, which is 2 eye patches, a double IPA, and that'll be coming out in 2 or 3 weeks. A massive grain bill, more hops, more alcohol. It's gonna be good. And it's gonna be a purple tie, so if you see the purple tie.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So this is Tree Hugger, right? So
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about the Tree Hugger?
Yeah, it's kind of between an amber and a brown. It's alt-centric. And then part of the Monster Beer Tour that we have here is Hopzilla, and that's my personal favorite, but it's got a 10% ABV, so start drinking that one, be careful.
So tell me about the festival itself.
This is our 18th year.
Yeah.
I owned a homebrew shop back in Athens in the mid-90s, and we went to the Great American Beer Festival back in 1995 in Denver, Colorado. That's the really, really big one. And fell in love with the festival. I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and I thought, well, I can bring this back to Athens and make this happen here. And I didn't realize how hard back then it was to get people to come to a beer festival. Now it's like, you know, come to a beer festival, yeah, that's great. But back then, what's a beer festival? So it's come a long way, but it's been really fun.
What movement do you think the industry's going, the beer industry itself?
I think it's a return to normalcy, really, because before Prohibition, there were 2,000 breweries in the United States. Everyone was used to drinking dark beer, you know, craft beer, because there were all these little breweries everywhere. You had to, because you couldn't ship beer very far because they didn't have refrigerated trucks. We're back now to higher than we were ever in the whole history of the United States in terms of breweries. And craft beer is still only about 6% of the market.
What do you think, like in the industry, which direction do you think it's moving for the beer industry?
Well, obviously growth is, you know, I mean, there's tons of breweries opening now. So obviously craft is a huge part of that. As far as beer styles, obviously the Belgian styles, which we've been doing for a number of years, are popular, becoming more popular. As breweries kind of open up their doors a little bit more to different yeast styles than the standard ale. The Belgian yeast, the wild yeast, even some bacteria. So, yeah.
What do you think, like, the future trend? Where's the industry going?
The industry's totally going sours. Sours and low gravity beers, because everyone's kind of figured out that just because it's craft beer doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a barrel-aged 15% blackest motor oil beverage, and that's where it's going. And they got so much more character than their mainstream cousins. So that's totally where it's going.
And as we discovered at the Classic City Brewfest, the craft revolution continues with no signs of slowing down.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Beautiful day in Athens, great beer, great stories, awesome people. Make sure you guys subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/BeerLovesAthens. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/BeerLovesAthens, and subscribe to Beer Loves You on YouTube. Check you guys next time.
Subscribe for our upcoming feature where we visit Terrapin Brewery and check out the new kids on the block over at Southern Brewing Company in Athens.